Okay, mate. Let's look here. OGN and EPS. I don't remember EPS. OGN. I like it. I think OGN is going to break up. It should. I like this compression, and we're getting into the end into the apex. Now, my only concern is sometimes price likes to come back down into the center point. Doesn't have to be the center point. Any other examples of this? Well, there was one here. Price did come back down to the lower end of the range, before getting the real move. No other real examples there. But my only concern is that somehow this fails. We come down here roughly, and then the real move happens. But overall, I really like this. How much downside would that be? Yeah, 15% downside. So that's the only worry. If Bitcoin was to flush, maybe this would flush down to this sort of area. Maybe not quite as low as that. It may be even somewhere down there, which maybe 13, 12, 11% down. So that's the worry. That's the concern. But overall, I like this. It's trying pretty hard to to eventually break out. You can see this sort of trend line here. I would probably keep that on the up top. Um, that's a 3-day chart, by the way. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, you can see we're kind of building pressure, and what price is trying to do is it's trying to break up here and maybe consolidate on this white 100 moving average, and then it'll want to break up above the white 100 moving average, and this 100 moving average will then want to get underneath price to support price for a move back to the top end of the range. You can see that your range that we have formed here is this, and 70% of the action will likely be in the center points of the range. So price will likely want to move up into this sort of area. There's also not that much volume up here. If we can break away from this high volume node, or if we can get above here, which is about the red 200 moving average, price is then going to probably move pretty hard and fast up to this sort of area. I know it's a bit closer, but this, well, we have to hope at this point that it's a bull flag that wants to break up. Sometimes, as I said, that this wants to run stops before the real move, and that's my only concern. So the way you can trade this, and you can enter this right now, and you can use the daily low as your stop loss. Um, you want this to stay green essentially, and you want this to continue to push higher to see if it can actually get that move up. If we flip red, you need to be very careful in case it wants to drop back. And you can see that the point of control is right here, actually. This is fantastic. The point of control is in this area is here. So I would be a buyer here. I'm going to set an alarm for it. If we drop to the point of control, that aligns with my theory that sometimes these like to drop back before going higher. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes they just keep going. But if we do drop back here, we have point of control volume support, which you can see is all through here. That would be a good point to buy in my view. If you want to take the risky buy and try and get in front of it in case it's going to go higher, you can try to buy today with a stop below the new 3-day lows. The weekly is still red. The week is almost over, 3 days left. I would suggest that this will not move that big until a new week if we're going to get a movement. Let's see the 2-week here. You can see also the 2-week is very strong. I mean, it's had a bullish stop hunt down here, and we've pushed up, and we're continuing to hold very strong. A lot of times in these patterns, this is a kind of bullish breakup, and it comes back down, and then likes to move off it again. Kind of a choppy reaccumulation. Sorry, I completely forgot about your other coin, EPS. Okay, so EPS here, like I love the volume. Look at the volume of the accumulation. The RSI is getting better. Price is stuck here on point of control, but if you actually look, we're kind of above point of control at this point. If I flip to, I'll go to a 2-week, but you can see here clear as day, price is down 95% from memory. Don't quote me on that yet, but that's just from memory. And this massive volume here, Now, I do have my alarm set below this price to, well, potentially accumulate below this. Now, I do not know if we will get this, if we will get that opportunity or not. I missed my buy down there when it was 96% down. I was raging when I figured that out. I didn't realize in the moment. So if I take that down, 95, 96% down, I mean, to accumulate anything that's down 96% is amazing. So, it's tricky to say at this point. What has that bounced? 50. It's not up that much. If we got one more flush lower, I really think that this, um, it, I really think that this is an amazing opportunity. If we did get a flush lower somewhere here, like what is that, 18 to whatever. I don't know if we will get that flush lower at some point, but if we do, I will be buying some and putting it away. Because overall, I like the structure. I like the fact that we've established a white 100 moving average on the chart. We are trying to bottom at this point. Do we get a fail move and get that sort of one last stop hunt to stop hunt this entire range before moving up? That's the $1 million question. If we do, well, that $1 million question might actually just make us $1 million. I mean, if we did stop on the range, say down here, and it was accumulated, I mean, who knows? It really could 10x at some point. Like the high ends of the range are back up here. Now, if I actually show you BZRX, BZRX is almost identical, almost. Only it's BZRX was newer, it dropped faster. But you can see after a 96% drop, BZRX had a 96% drop. And if you accumulated down here on this low end of the range, for example, you can still buy below the trend line. Look at this trend line right here. Now, if you had accumulated BZRX below this trend line, you were buying in the bottom area. Now, I don't know if it's going to do the same, but you can see where BZRX went from here. It was all up. And BZRX, let's take a measurement. If you bought down in this range and actually got the top, I mean, that was a 10x to the upside. Now, if you buy in that range down here, if there was one more flush and you bought that range down there, well, that's where your 10x is. And it's almost identical structure. Now, I'm not saying that it has to pan out, but what I am saying is down 95% is not a bad point to be accumulating for a longer term. And as you said yourself, they are NFTs, and NFTs are pretty hot. When people cop onto that fact, and when price bounces back up here, there might actually start to be some FOMO when people realize that this is bottomed. And there's a good likelihood that this is already bottomed. BZRX never actually came back down. Oh, it did come down and flush the lows, but it's hard to tell if this will come down and flush the lows or not.